We'll get warmed up, Carl. We'll see you in 30 minutes' time.
Wow. I don't think that's ever been done before. Interesting stuff. Thank you, Lara. Well, it prides itself on being the world's safest airline. But in the past week, the pride of Qantas has taken a little bit of a hit. 5 planes, all on varying routes, encountering technical issues, the most serious resulting in a mayday call. Fortunately, all landed safely. And it's that point Qantas wants to reaffirm travellers of, inviting us exclusively behind the scenes to see firsthand the airline's extensive safety operations. And as you'll see, there's an army of people working to keep you safe in the air. Andrew, big week.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
How are you all feeling about it?
Oh, look, really good, Cole. Yeah. The really pleasing thing with all of the incidents we've had over the last few days is our pilots have followed standard operating procedures as they're trained to do and err on the side of caution.
A Qantas 737 from Auckland to Sydney losing an engine mid-flight.
There's been another drama for the airline, a 737 forced back to Sydney as a precaution.
2 planes from Melbourne forced to turn around due to mechanical issues.
We're in a business where we continue to strive to improve safety. It's already an extremely safe operation. We always strive to do better, and that's part of that.
Captain Alex Passerini is a Qantas pilot with more than 30 years' experience.
Captain, what happens in the event, say for example, of an engine failure like we always saw?
Yeah, so if the engine fails, we get some systems indications, and it might surprise a lot of people that initially you want to just sit on your hands and assess the problem. You don't rush into an action.
It'd be rare for a pilot to issue a mayday call. What has to happen for that to eventuate?
Well, it has to be an emergency of a sufficient level, and the pilot in command makes that assessment. And at the end of the day, what you need to do, because you know that you won't be able to maintain 38,000 feet on one engine, which is fine. The aeroplane will drift down on one engine to around about 20 to 24,000 feet, depending on the weight.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is tell everyone in the area that you've got an emergency and that you need priority and get out of the way, because I'm starting my drift down.
And if all this does happen, there are people on the ground keeping a close watch. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Qantas Integrated Operations Centre monitoring every flight everywhere around the world.
We're informed of anything that's non-normal. Essentially, the team here are advised of anything that is, again, not normal to the way we generally operate, and the team will start to respond and react as required. So they'll engage the crew, engage people on the ground, engage air traffic control, and we'll start to formulate a plan if things aren't going to plan.
And if something happens, say for example with the engine shut down, the information flows through here in what capacity?
Oh, sure. So we will generally find out the moment it happens that something is not right. Our engineering team over in the maintenance operations control area, they're actually getting live feeds from the aircraft, so they'll know if an engine has been shut down, for example, and then the response will start from that.
Let me ask this, when there is something happening, is it calm in here?
Absolutely. And we're recognised for our calmness. We practice for these scenarios quite frequently. The aviation industry, things don't always go to plan, and we test responses to these situations frequently. To be honest, the last time we actually tested this was last week. So only a few days prior we tested our response.
But even before they take off, there's an army of professionals inspecting every part of the aircraft, leaving no stone unturned.
All of our aircraft have a pre-flight inspection undertaken by both the engineers and the pilots, and part of that routine is undertaken just prior to the passengers get on board.
We're looking at general condition of the tyres, for example, the nose gear assembly, and then some very important areas like the pitot probes and the temperature probes.
What sort of things are you looking for?
In the engine, we're looking, at any nicks or any damage. Evidence of a bird strike, for example. Inlet, lip, we want it all to be nice and smooth, nothing protruding. There are probes in the engine that we look at to make sure that they're not damaged and free. So they're the types of things that we're looking at.
So how do you respond to accusations that the Qantas maintenance isn't where it used to be?
There's zero compromise on maintenance in this business. We are the only airline in the country that has a heavy maintenance base in Brisbane. that maintains the bulk of our 73s, some of our 320s and our 330s. All of our line maintenance is done across all our bases across the country. The only thing that goes offshore is the big checks of the wide-body aircraft. So nothing's changed on that front, and we're very, very proud of our engineers and the quality that they deliver.
So what do you put all of these incidents down to? What's the reason why there's been a collection of them, or a group of them in a short period?
So all barring one, I would say, were minor issues where we have done absolutely the right thing. The engine shutdown was the one that I would describe as serious. The industry stats would indicate we should expect to see one shutdown in flight about once a year, and we've had 3 in 14 years.
Does Qantas have a maintenance issue?
No, absolutely not. We do not have a maintenance issue. We don't have a pilot issue. We're very pleased with the way we've dealt with these incidents. Yes, they've all come in a rush in a few days, but as I said, law of averages, they're not going to happen evenly, one a week spread over the year. We will see sometimes a cluster, and then we won't have anything.
So the reality is that the Qantas has an exceptional safety record. Do you test that with the public when you have a collection of these incidents?
I know when there is a turn back or a diversion, it's inconvenient for customers, and sometimes it's disconcerting. I understand that.
Captain, the question that divided Australia, do you let passengers know or not?
Look, I think it's an appropriate level of information at the time that we've had a technical problem and we need to, divert or return to a point of landing. I think that's appropriate. And then perhaps more information after you're on the ground. I think that's part of the piloting command's judgment as to what's appropriate for that time, particularly if it's an obvious failure. If it's not so obvious, then, some of that information can be delayed in providing the detail.
What do you say to passengers about Qantas?
Safety is always our number one priority. Always will be, always has been. We don't always deliver, but we learn from it, and we're focused on getting better and better and better.
We do need to see sometimes, don't we, what happens behind the scenes, Carl? Really good access there.
Yeah, no, it is. It's good access. Also, we know that they've had a drama, an action-packed, if you like, or lack of action in some regards over the last couple of years. But the one thing about Qantas is you cannot fault their safety record. And that says a lot. They've got great people, experienced people working behind the scenes. And that's why I personally always feel incredibly safe when I fly with them, because of all that experience on the deck and behind the scenes. So there may be more incidents coming, but the one thing about Qantas is that they're the best and most experienced at handling those.
And we all choose to fly with them, don't we?
We do. All right, coming up on Today.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my goodness, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
That never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?